First, I want to thank Tim Bezbachenko for spending the last 5 years with us. It's a compliment to him that he is leaving this place a much better place than when he started. We will miss him not only as an executive, but also as a friend. So we wish him and his family the best of luck. With that said, I'm extremely excited to introduce the man to my left, Ollie Curtis, as the 5th general manager in the history of Toronto FC. 18 years ago, I drafted Ollie as a player into Major League Soccer, and our paths have somehow come together again here 18 years later, and I could not be more excited to have him on board to lead our franchise into the future. So, Ollie Curtis, go ahead. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I really want to thank ownership, really want to thank Bill Manning and the entire TFC organization. I'm looking forward to working with Greg and the entire staff. Already I feel that there's a great feel to this organization, and I'm looking forward to being part of that. I'm new, so I'll have to spend some time really getting to know the ins and outs of not only the staff, but also the community in Toronto. Already I've got a great feel for it, or I'm learning to get a good feel for it. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I have some ideas and different programs and initiatives and things that I'd like to put my fingerprints on the organization, but I need to spend some time learning, getting a feel for the people, for the players, for the staff, and that's very exciting. I think this is a great club. I'm looking forward to adding to the club and improving the club in different ways. There's an intensity to the way I work, and a level of execution that I demand out of myself and everyone around me. So I'm very excited. This is a great club. It has a great coach, and it has a great president. And I'm looking forward to working with both of those guys. So thank you for being here. This is a great day for me, for my family. I just can't wait to get to work. So thank you very much.
Greg?
Thank you. Thank you for being here. First, I likewise want to send my best to Bez. It's been a pleasure and an honor working with him over the last 5 years. He's the one that brought me in initially, so I want to wish him well and everything that he does, and with his family as well. Bez is actually the one who really kind of introduced Ali and I over the course of the last several years through their relationship, because they are close. I've been able to get to know Ali over the years, and we've had a great relationship in the time that we've spent together. I told Ali when I met with him about a few days ago, a week ago, I said I always felt like there was going to be a time when the two of us worked together. So here it is, and we look forward to getting this thing going again. Start of a new year, a new journey, a new opportunity. And with a new face in the organization, it comes new ideas and new opportunity to continue to grow as an organization. So I look forward to working with you, and I look forward to what's to come here in 2019.
Great. Mike?
Questions?
Questions. All right.
Bill, this seemed to happen very quickly. Could you kind of outline the timeline of
Sure.
Bez leaving and Ali coming on board, and Ali as well, when this opportunity maybe presented itself to you?
Sure. We had given Tim permission to seek another opportunity before Christmas. And the day after Christmas, he and I had another discussion. And he really wanted to take advantage of this, and it's a great opportunity for him. And quickly called Greg. And I said, look, I need you back in town. So I flew Greg back to Phoenix on Thursday, from Phoenix on Thursday, and we talked about moving forward, and we talked about who we thought would be the best person that could lead our soccer operations, and Ali was at the top of both of our lists. So I then got home and I called Ali and I said, I'd like to talk to you, and we flew you up here on Saturday. And he and I met. We spent a few hours together, and then he went to Phoenix, and he spent the day with Greg out there. And on Monday, we offered him the job, and he's here. Today Wednesday? Today's Thursday, and he's here as our new general manager. So it is, you know, for us as an organization, we don't want to stand still, and we did not want to take a long time. And Greg and I knew right away that, you know, while we certainly will miss Tim, we wanted to get the best guy out there to lead this franchise in terms of soccer going forward. He was a guy we both wanted. We didn't want to waste any time, and so we wanted to get it rolling, especially with training camp starting, with the draft, with the combine, and we wanted to make sure he could. We didn't miss a beat as we go into 2019. So it's a very quick timeline, but that kind of gives you the dates over the last few days.
You know, I echo what Bill mentioned. You know, it happened fast and quick. You know, the speed of the way events and transactions occur in the sports business, as we all know, it varies, and sometimes things take time. And it spreads out, and sometimes they go very quickly. You know, I think the most important thing in this regard is that Toronto FC is a great organization, and there's a great community here, and it's got great people. And for me, those things, they should work very quickly in the sense that I've known Bill for a long time. He's a good person, a good human being. Greg and I have met on a number of different occasions, and all those interactions have been nothing but positive. It's been really, really good. So the transition and the opportunity was great, and I'm excited about it, and really looking forward to getting to work. So I'm happy it happened quickly, and I think you know, this is the right club. It's a great club, and looking forward to being part of it.
Just very brief
Yep.
follow-up. So Ali was the only person interviewed for the
Yeah,
job?
yeah, we knew who we wanted.
Bill, this is very close to players reporting, and so there isn't much time for Ali to hit the ground running. Do you feel that there's still a big to-do list in terms of assembling your club for this season?
No. We spent about 3 hours together, Greg and I and Ali, and you know, if you know Greg can talk soccer all day long, and so we went player by player, and he gave a good synopsis of kind of each of the guys on our roster. We stand at 25 guys on the roster right now. You know, we have a few guys who you know, we're targeting to fill up the rest of the roster. So I don't think there's a whole lot of work to be done from that standpoint. But what I've really challenged Ali with is, you know, as he gets to know the organization over the next, you know, 4 to 6 months, and the structure, what can he add to that, and how can we improve on what we're doing, and how we want to continue to grow this club. But I don't think he's, you know, he's not coming into a bare cupboard, I guess. It's you know, we're set. We're set for 2019, with the exception of a few additions that we'll be making, and obviously he'll be a big part of that decision-making process.
You know, if I were to add to that, you know, there's this quote that I use from Arthur Ashe, and he says, "Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can." So I think it's very important anytime you enter a new situation or a new organization that you listen, you learn, you process and analyze, but you roll up your sleeves and you get your hands dirty. I'm not worried about the tight deadline. You know, I think sometimes those are they're challenges, but they're also opportunities. I think the most important thing is you've got really good people here. You've got a solid foundation. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone, listening, learning, and adding to that and improving the club.
Yeah, well, I would just add to you, I think Ali, as you mentioned and as Bill has mentioned, there's a lot of people already still at work in the course of this and then through this process, you know, with the guys, all of the guys who have been around and helping Tim, from Corey Ray to Sean Rubio to all the guys that are here. So it's our job to get Ali up to speed as quickly as possible and everything that's going on, and Tim will help us in that process too, just to make sure the transition is smooth, and Ali will jump in. He's known this league, having worked at the league office and at clubs to be able to jump in this quickly. And we're not a team in big transition. We're a team that's looking for subtle pieces. We've obviously made a couple acquisitions over the offseason, and those are clear acquisitions that say we're trying to win a championship again. I think that's what that says, and so. We're not looking for a ton of change. We're looking for some nuance to continue to improve our team to go for another championship.
Yep.
And if I can ask another question, Ali, I think it's been, what, a year and a half since you left the Red Bulls. Can you tell us what have you been up to since then, and what were the circumstances that led to you leaving the Red Bulls?
So, it's been great, to be honest with you. I deliberately wanted to kind of take a step back, such that it could kind of give me some perspective on what it was I wanted to do moving forward, and what organization would make a whole lot of sense. And this opportunity came along, and it's the right fit. It's the right club. It's the right people. So I've done a lot of soul searching and analyzing and watching games and speaking to different clubs and different GMs on their ideas and learning. So I'm ready. I'm excited to get back to work. Today has been a long time coming, but I'm very, very excited. So I can't wait to get to work.
And the Red Bulls?
The Red Bulls have done, they had a good season last year. I enjoyed my time at Red Bull. I think, you look at life, sometimes it's in chapters. And for me, I felt that it was time to turn the page. So I turned the page in a new chapter in my life, and professionally and personally. And I'm very grateful to be here in this moment, speaking to you and being part of Toronto FC.
Ollie, welcome to Toronto.
Thank you.
What do you make of this squad that you're taking over and joining, being part of?
Yeah, good question. I need to take some time to analyze that. Need to speak with Greg a little bit more. I've had a couple text message exchanges with some of the players, so I'm looking forward to them coming back. I'd like to get my hands wrapped around TFC2 as well as the academy. I think it's important to really have a good grasp of what's going on at the youth level, at the academy level, within the community, what's going on. Also with TFC2 and the first team, I think you have to take an integrated approach, especially a club of this size, to how you build a roster. So it's important. I still need to dive into the contracts and all the numbers and the different options and all the different rules at MLS and mechanisms that they have. So I need to spend a little bit of time doing that, and I'll do that very quickly. I'm excited about that. I'll be in Orlando next week. I've scheduled some meetings. So I'd like to analyze things before I move too quickly, but I do like to move fast. As I mentioned in my earlier statements, I think the intensity with which I work is fairly quick. So I'm excited to meet everyone right now, and I think right now it's important that we just get to know people and get to know the players, get to know the staff. That'll be very important.
And Bill, with Ollie being the only choice for this club, he's a very well-known name around Major League Soccer circles. But to the Toronto FC supporters, what is it about Ollie that just made him the go-to guy in this scenario? What makes him the right man to lead this group forward?
I think the person that he is, Ollie is extremely competitive. He's been since the first day I saw him play in college. He's extremely bright. He has a great education. His experience at the league, I think, is invaluable. He worked 8 years at the league for Commissioner Garber, and then a similar role he and Tim had working directly with the teams. And so when I was in Salt Lake, I still held high regard for Ollie, and we spoke here and there. I followed his career. And then I was real proud of him when he got the Red Bulls job. I think I called you and congratulated him when he got that job. I might have even been a reference. I'm just trying to think back. But I thought he did a really good job there, and it really, it said something to me when a guy I used to play with, Chris Armas, sent a text message to Ollie after they won the Supporters Shield this year and said, "Hey, you were a big part of this," and that said a lot to me. I think our fans are going to see someone who is not only going to be a strong executive for us, but also of high character. And it was really important to me that Greg held the same opinion that I did. And when Greg called me on Sunday night and he's like, he's our guy. Then I knew it was the right decision rather than drawing this thing out. And like I said, I don't want to miss a beat, and I want to make sure we continue to move forward. And we have a lot to prove after last year's regular season. We go right into CONCACAF February 19th, and the good thing is with his experience in the league, he brings a lot to the table. So we're really excited about that.
Bill, were you surprised when Bez came to you and said that he wanted to pursue?
No, Tim and I have talked a lot about, hopefully I've been a very good mentor for him the last 3 years, and I think he would say so, and we've developed a really strong relationship. And, I've talked with him about his future in terms of where he wants to go and what he wants to do. And when an opportunity presented itself, like it has, I think we saw something similar with Jeff Weltman when Masai had that with him in Orlando. And I didn't want to hold Tim back, and we wanted to do the right thing by him. He's going to spend the next couple of days here with Ali to really help transition. So it happens in sports, right? And these opportunities happen, and he and I have a strong enough relationship that we did it all above board, and we made it work. And so I think he's excited for his new opportunity, and he's going to miss Toronto. I think he would say the same. He had a really good 5 years here, and like I said, he leaves this franchise much better than when he started.
At this point, is he taking anyone with him, or just him for now?
No, like anything, I just said, hey, just talk to me, if there's anything you want to do with any of our people, and I had the same situation in Salt Lake, and I don't think I brought anyone. It's just, I don't know how that'll play itself out, but we did talk about that actually. Just said, hey, just make sure we do it the right way.
Ali, do you foresee changes with some of the people that Tim had hired, Corey Ray, Devin Pluler, those kind of people?
So I just got here, and
Put him on the spot, John.
I just got here. I also I'm a big believer in you wake up every day focused on trying to get better. And having the best people in every area of the club. And I just want to do everything I can to be part of an integrated team to help Toronto FC. So I really just want to get to know people and to get to know them off the field and on the field. And that's step one. And we go from there. I think we all have the same goal, that we want to win. We want to win. That's extremely important, but we want to do it the right way. And there's a lot of good people. I've been here for a day and a half or so, and but fortunately I've been able to meet a lot of the staff already, and it's been a great feeling. They've got a lot of good people that are good professionals here, and I want to respect that and honor that. They've built a lot of great infrastructure here, just in terms of how they interact with each other. Different programs and processes. You've seen how things have grown here over the last 5 or 6 years better than I have, because you've seen how the club has grown, and you've seen what that meant and how that translates on the field. So I want to be part of that. As much as at times I need to be a leader, I will also have to be a teammate and a follower as well. So I'm looking forward to being part of the team. I really am. I'm excited. I'm excited for my family to join the TFC family and to get them up to Toronto. Yeah.
I'll preface this by saying, okay, it's only been a day. When you were at New York, we heard a lot about the plan, and we heard about this dossier that was hundreds of pages.
Big plan.
Can you maybe shed some light on some of the changes you might foresee happening? Maybe have you started to formulate a plan for here in Toronto?
I have. I've thought through that. I think it's important that you always, when you step into a big role, that you have an idea of what you want to do and where you want to put your footsteps. With that being said, I'm fortunate and grateful to have really strong, capable people around me. In Greg, of course, he's an excellent coach, and also in Bill Manning and being an excellent president. Again, I want to learn from people as quickly as possible. I do have ideas, I do have plans, but what worked for Red Bull doesn't necessarily, it's not going to work for Toronto. It's a different city, a different culture, a different team. The composition of the roster may be different. There's different goals. You look across the league, teams are starting to have different identities, and the identity of Toronto FC is different than the identity of the Red Bulls. Granted, there's some similarities in terms of platforms, in terms of, you know, having a robust youth program as well as having a reserve team, and then also having the first team, and how those platforms interact. Of course, we get that, but this team has a different identity than the Red Bulls, and the approach, while there'll be some similarities, there are a lot of differences. So it's important that I get to know the community, the fans, the people that work here very quickly, and then we get up and run it.
Bill, can you share the person you saw when you drafted Ali all those years ago? And I know you're not Nostradamus, but did you ever see that he would be in a...
He was thinner and, you know, had less wrinkles, maybe a little...
Did you see him? Did you see him in having a future on the other side of the game?
You know, I would say 18 years ago, you know, when I drafted Ali, I actually, what I saw was a fire and a competitiveness and someone that had a confidence about him as a young man. And then when he was hired at the league office, I was extremely proud of him and taking this, you know, he left J.P. Morgan to join the league office, and then I knew, then I was like, okay, he's gonna be a real player in Major League Soccer over the next 20 years or so. And you know, it made me proud because he was one of the guys that I kind of brought into the league, and you know, Ali's called me a few times over the years for advice, and you know, I looked at him as kind of one of my guys, for lack of a better word, and you know, again, when this opportunity came, kind of comes full circle 18 years later, and I was like, you know, this is the guy, and then when, you know, Greg confirmed that with me, I knew my hunch was right. And so I would say when he was in the league office, though, and you know, what the feedback I was getting from Ivan Gazidis at the time, Todd Durbin, was you know, Ali was going to definitely be a team GM at one point, maybe a team president at one point. And so I'd say then I knew he was going to be around for a while. And you know, it's funny, I'm not surprised that I hired him, because I knew at some point we'd be working together. It was just a matter of when.
Gareth Wheeler alongside Eric Giacometti as Toronto FC welcome Ali Curtis as the new general manager of Toronto FC. Eric, you're from New York. You're familiar with Ali Curtis. Now he's here in Toronto. What should the Red supporters expect from this new hire?
I mean, he's a guy that knows the league inside and out. He's been around the league office, and with the Red Bulls, he's had so much success bringing in players like Sasha Klestrin, who led the league in assists, Kamara Lawrence, a best 11 selection, Red Bulls 2 championship in 2016, Supporters Shield in 2015. The list goes on and on. I mean, this guy knows how to win in this league, and that's such a proven thing to have in MLS to bring to Toronto. I think it means a lot of great things going forward for the club.
Yeah, and the one overriding message here is all three gentlemen, the Toronto FC Brain Trust, are all on the same page. There's continuity here. Although Tim Bezbatchenko leaves the club for another role with the Columbus Crew, it seems like this transition will be relatively seamless. When the term was used, nuanced changes are all that's required ahead of 2019. So business as usual, a quick hire, and they're right back at it, Eric.
Yeah, as Bill Manning mentioned, a lot of the roster's already set in place. This team is still built to win now, so maybe just a few minor tweaks here and there, but Ali Curtis doesn't have the objective to overturn a roster and make a lot of changes, so he'll be able to get up to speed very quickly and get to work right away.
It's funny, though, how in this league it requires a certain type of individual to take on this kind of role. You need the club experience, check, with the New York Red Bulls, and having success at doing that. Also, a league background as well, understanding the intricacies of contracts and all the quirks and quirks of making moves in this league, and Ali Curtis definitely checks all the boxes.
Yeah, we joked in New York that he kind of wrote the book on a lot of these things working at the league office. He knows it inside and out, so there's no one better to lead the team forward in terms of the roster mechanisms and salaries with TAM and GAM, so he knows exactly what he's doing in terms of bringing in players, high value, low risk. So I think it's a great day for Toronto FC to see what he can bring going forward.
It's interesting. He says he already has ideas of what he wants to bring to this team. There has to be a short-term objective with training camp in the season right around the corner, the CONCACAF Champions League, that coming up right in February, and maybe a longer-term objective as well. So maybe we can see two things play out at once. He's going to be a busy man over the next couple months.
Yeah, he's going to jump right into it. I mean, we have the Super Drafts coming up, and then preseason, and then, of course, course, right back into the Champions League, which is we know is a huge objective of this team to get back to the final and try to be the first MLS team to win it. So that would be a great thing to check off of his list right away. But certainly it'll have the biggest task right now is getting up to speed, as you mentioned, getting to know the culture of the club and knowing the staff and really getting integrated into the city of Toronto.
I know many people are going to miss Tim Bezbatchenko. It's a surprise to many supporters out there that he's moved on, but an opportunity to go back to your hometown and take on a dual role as president of the organization. You heard Bill Manning say it. You just don't want to hold anyone back when an opportunity like that comes up.
Yeah, and Bill wants nothing but the best for Tim, and that's what he wanted to be, being the president of Columbus. It's a great move for him, but kudos to Tim for what he's done to really transform this team from a cellar dwellers in MLS to kind of the standard bearers in Toronto, being one of the best in MLS, the treble of 2017 and Champions League final. So kudos to him for really turning this thing around, and he's left a legacy here in Toronto.
And Eric shared some of the legacy that Ali Curtis left in New York, and the Red Bulls had an outstanding year, and the fabric, the foundation was helped laid by Toronto FC's new general manager. I'm looking forward to seeing what's up his sleeve, what comes next. For what comes up for Toronto FC next, of course, the busy off-season continues. The Combine, the Super Draft, and training camp opens in just a few weeks' time. Are you ready for it, Eric?
Never a quiet day in Toronto. We like staying busy, though. It's good stuff.
Of course, new signings as well. Laurent Simon coming to the team. That was a big one as well. So plenty more reaction will be coming in. Keep it locked to TorontoFC.ca, Toronto FC on Twitter, Instagram. We'll keep you up to speed all the way to the kickoff of the 2019 season.